With the release of Minions 3 getting closer, it's super important that you check out the coolest Easter eggs from the last two movies. Did you pay attention to the hidden secrets in this blockbuster hit? Young Gru. During a really cool villain event in the first movie, we can see a very quick scene where young Gru appears next to his mother, and the two of them are watching a younger Dr. Nefario as the scientist presents them with the freeze ray. This is a great Easter egg because it's the very first weapon Gru uses at the beginning of the entire Despicable Me franchise. Not to mention, it's really cool to see a younger Dr. Nefario, isn't it? And hang on tight because there are plenty more secrets from Minions 1 and 2 waiting for you. You know what's starting. It's another awesome Cinewave! Couch. One really cool detail we can see in the Vicious Six headquarters is that the couch they have is the exact same couch Gru has in his living room. The couch looks like it's made from crocodile skin, and without a doubt, it's exactly the kind of furniture a terrible villain would use to decorate a living room. Did you notice that detail? Dracula. One of the first scenes in Minions shows them gathered around their master's coffin. This boss is a vampire, and he's celebrating his 357th birthday. This is a huge reference to Count Dracula, a famous movie villain for many years. But this vampire is a little weaker since he dies simply from sunlight. Did you know this villain even had a name? He wasn't just an ordinary vampire. Comic-Con. The event where the Minions go looking for a new evil boss is called Villain Expo, and it's a major reference to San Diego Comic-Con in the United States. This event brings together all kinds of pop culture from movies and comic books around the world, and it's one of the geekiest events on the planet. Anyone who loves Comic-Con almost certainly caught the reference in this part of the movie. Napoleon. Another interesting detail is that the Minions also worked for another famous villain, but this one actually existed in the real world. When they are standing in the snow next to a short general, we can be sure that it's Napoleon Bonaparte, a French emperor who dominated Europe several centuries ago. He was a short man, just like he appears in the movie, and yes, he was defeated in the snow. If the movie's story is accurate, it's very possible that snowy wasteland is located in Russia. Ship. Speaking of France, the ship that passes by the Minions when they arrive in New York during the 1960s is a ship that came from that country. The reason that ship appears is probably because during the year the Minions arrived in America, relations between the two countries weren't very good, but they eventually grew closer again. It's an old historical story that doesn't seem like it would fit into an animated movie, but the Minions pay attention to every detail, which is why this is an Easter egg that only adults noticed. Excalibur. During a police chase scene, after the Minions try to steal Queen Elizabeth's crown, Bob runs into a town square and pulls a sword from a stone. This is the ultimate reference to the most famous sword in the world, Excalibur, from the legends of King Arthur. When Bob pulls the sword out, he gains the right to rule England alongside his friends. Can you believe that for a brief moment the Minions were kings? Would you have the courage to be ruled by the Minions? Comment the hashtag Minions so we can get to know you. Hippie. Another very interesting Easter egg appears when Bob, Kevin, and Stuart are standing near some clothes hanging on a clothesline. One of the outfits Stuart grabs is actually a reference to Woodstock. The biggest music festival in history took place in 1969, attracted more than 400,000 people, and became the ultimate symbol of the hippie movement, which was incredibly influential during that era. President. In the next scene, when the Minions arrive in New York, they pass by a very noticeable poster of former US President Richard Nixon, and there's also a joke hidden in that poster. It says that he's a man people can trust, but according to history, that couldn't be further from the truth, since he became known for being dishonest. This is another Easter egg that adults picked up on right away. Army. Still in the scene where the Minions are standing near the clothesline, we can spot another poster hidden in the background and attached to a wall. The image shows a soldier along with words promoting military enlistment. This is a reference to what was happening in the world at the time, when the United States was involved in a war in Asia during one of the most tense periods of modern history. It's impressive how the Minions movies managed to include such important details in a children's animated film. Bewitched. One of the most fun Easter eggs in the Minions movies is that they always include details that reference the time period the movie takes place in. In one scene where they are trapped inside a store, we can see all of them watching television. At that exact moment, a clip from the opening sequence of Bewitched appears on the screen, a TV show that was a huge hit throughout the 1960s and 1970s. Hoax. Do you believe in conspiracy theories? Apparently, the creators of Minions do, because one scene where they are traveling around the world in the first movie shows the little yellow henchman entering a movie studio. Inside the studio, we can see them passing by two 2 astronauts pretending to walk on the moon, and this is one of the most famous conspiracy theories in the world. Some people believe that humans never actually landed on the moon, and that the footage we have as proof was really filmed inside a movie studio. In the world of the Minions, it seems that this theory turned out to be true. The Addams Family. During a scene that takes place on the highway, the Minions are trying to get to Orlando because that's where VillainCon is being held. It's in this scene that they meet a funny family of villains made up of a mother, a father, and 2 children. A big boy, a little girl, and a baby. This is a reference to the Addams Family, but in reverse. This group is called the Nelson Family, and unlike the Addamses, they are all cheerful and funny, but the idea of a mischievous family causing all kinds of trouble is exactly the same. Would a movie about the Nelson family be fun? We think so. License plate. Still talking about the Nelsons, there's an interesting detail about their car's license plate that we want to show you. It says LUV2ROB. This is an abbreviation for a phrase that basically means love to rob, and that's exactly what they do when they meet the Minions. They rob a bank together as a family while traveling to VillainCon. What they're doing is definitely wrong, but you can't say they aren't having fun together as a family, just like we have fun together here on the channel. And if you're not subscribed yet, you know what to do. Click and hit the bell so you don't miss any videos. Thefts. Speaking of robberies, when we enter Scarlet Overkill's fortress, the main villain from the first movie, we can spot some very interesting items she has stolen. You can see that the evil woman stole Michelangelo's David, one of the most famous statues in the world. She also stole one of the Easter Island heads. Right in front of that head, we can see another famous sculpture, the Despicable Me, the image of a man preparing to throw a discus, a work that has existed for more than 2,500 years. Goggles. Did you notice a secret hidden in the Minions' faces during the very first scenes? Everyone knows the little yellow henchmen wear goggles over their eyes, but when they are underwater, they aren't wearing any kind of protection, and as soon as they reach the surface and begin living on land, the goggles suddenly appear. Maybe they aren't actually goggles at all, but some kind of protection they need now that they no longer live underwater. Another interesting detail is that the first goggles they wear seem to be made out of green seaweed, but when they are serving the caveman, the object appears to be made of stone. Fairy tale. Another Easter egg happens when Scarlet is telling a story to the Minions. She pretends that they are little pigs instead of minions, and says that one day they met an evil she-wolf who had a plan to steal a crown that would turn her into a princess. This is a reference to the story of the 3 little pigs and the big bad wolf. And of course, it's also a way for the villain to threaten our heroes. Did you notice that detail? Crown. Since the villain's plan is to steal a crown, and we're talking about Queen Elizabeth's jewel, we have a really cool Easter egg involving this object. In the first Despicable Me movie, one of the Minions gives Gru that exact same crown so he can sell it and get money for his plan to steal the moon. Gru steals this crown at the end of the first Minions movie, which is why it's such a great Easter egg, because he has owned this object ever since he was a child. We did the math for you, and apparently this jewel is worth approximately $5 billion. That would buy a whole lot of pizza and bananas. The Beatles. In one scene where the Minions are running away, they open a manhole cover, and at that exact moment, we can see the Beatles crossing the street, which is one of the most famous references in music history. Jaws. When Gru and the Minions are heading to the movie theater, we can see a poster for Jaws by Steven Spielberg, one of the most famous movies in cinema history. Reference. And finally, one of the coolest references in the second Minions movie shows young Gru using a cheddar cheese gun on people standing in front of him in a line because he hates waiting. This is a reference to the freeze ray that Gru uses on people in the first movie of the franchise. Would you rather be hit with ice or with cheese? We'd rather have you here on the channel with us. It's almost over, but until then, you can stay with us. There are 2 super fun videos waiting for you. Thanks, and see you next time.